If you're over 50 years old and you're thinking about starting a business, you're not alone. According to the Kauffman Foundation, they're an organization that studies entrepreneurship. The greatest number of businesses that are being started today are being started by people who are between the age of 55 and 64. Now, if you fall in that age category, I want to help you. In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the 5 steps that you should take to start a business when you're over 50. The information I'm going to share with you is what I've learned over the course of my 30-year business career. It's information that I've learned from talking to hundreds of business owners. You know, as the former publisher of a chain of business-to-business publications who served the small business market, I was fortunate, I'm blessed. I was lucky enough to be able to sit down with business owners and talk about the problems that they face, finding solutions to those problems, talking to them about the challenges, talking to them about how to grow their business. And I'm going to share some of that information with you in this video. But before I do that, I'd like to ask you to go ahead and subscribe to Over 50 TV. You can do that easily, just hit that subscribe button. There's also a little bell. If you pound on that little bell, you'll get our latest updates and they'll be delivered right to your inbox. Also, before I forget, there is a little thumbs up button. If this video does help you, please hit that thumbs up button. That's going to let us know that what we're providing you is helpful. So, without further ado, 5 steps that you need to take to start a business when you're over 50. Welcome back to Over 50 TV. My name is Lou Reyes. I'm your host. And before the break, I promised you that I was going to tell you the 5 steps that you should take to start a business when you are over 50 years old. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to get right into it. And you know, one of the things I've learned over time is when you're starting a business, before you start a business, you know, you come up with this great idea. It's something that you've been thinking about. Maybe you were thinking about the idea when you were working for a company. Maybe the idea just popped in your head when you read an article and you thought, man, I'm going to do this. I really would like to start this kind of a business. But here's what the first step is always going to be. You want to vet the business. And what do I mean by that? What you want to do is you want to really give a lot of thought to it. You want to look at that business idea and you've got to ask yourself a few questions. Will people pay you for that product or for that service? Will they actually pay you? Now, that's important, obviously, but you know, you want to make sure that if they pay you, that you're going to be able to make money with that business. And I know this all sounds pretty darn obvious, but truly, there are a lot of people that have an idea in business and they jump into it, they don't give it enough thought, and before they know it, they have no customers, no profit, and they're closing the door. So vetting that business idea is extremely important. Once you've got the vetting out of the way, now comes a little bit of the getting your hands dirty kind of stuff. It's putting together your budget. It's getting to know your numbers. It's sitting down and calculating your startup cost. What I do is I use Excel. I create a spreadsheet. I list all my expenses on the left-hand side of the column, and then I go ahead and then I do January through December. I calculate my costs for every single month. So what I do is basically I'm just creating a budget, but I'm creating a budget, I'm inputting the startup cost, I'm taking those startup costs, and I'm usually increasing them by about 50% so that when I look at my numbers and if for some reason I go over budget on a particular area when I get the business up and running, at least I know I'm pretty much covered. Usually, I hope I'm pretty much covered. But yes, after you vet your business idea, then it's time to sit down and really put a pencil to paper. It's time to calculate your costs. It's time to get to really know and get a good feel for what this product or service is going to cost you. And don't forget though, when you do this, be sure that you're also paying attention to that bottom line, that net income number, because again, as I mentioned previously, you want to make sure that you can make money with this idea. And don't be, I want to say don't be a dreamer. I mean, I think we're all dreamers as entrepreneurs. We go in this positive, we go in this thinking, man, we're going to do this. It's going to be successful. It's going to grow. But you know, there's a little bit of reality here. There's some cold water that you got to throw on yourself. Literally, you throw it on yourself and you say, hey, what are my numbers, and is this really something that I can do? Okay, another step when you're starting a business is you must create a marketing plan. The marketing plan's only goal, the sole goal for a marketing plan, is to help you to figure out how you're going to engage with your customer and how you're going to bring them in the door, how you're going to get them to buy your product or use your service. So the marketing plan is very critical, very, very important. Now, I'm going to give you some tips though on a marketing plan and just some things that you're going to want to do. And I would put together a one-page marketing plan. I would not be and recommend anyway, at least when you're starting out here, I would say these are specifically what I know I need to do. And yeah, there'll be some research that'll be involved in developing that marketing plan. But here are some of the components. Here's some key components of every single marketing plan. Number one, now you have to have a website. And there are some platforms that you can use to create a website that are not expensive. I don't recommend when you're starting out, especially in your first business, to go out there and spend $5,000, $10,000 or whatever it is worth of dollars. I don't recommend you go out and spend a lot of money on your first website. I recommend that you get a website you spend as least as possible for a good looking, professional looking website. You can use a platform that I've used. It's called Squarespace. I use them. I think Squarespace will give you a template. It does give you templates that you can use that makes your platform look good, make your website look good. But the website's going to be key. Another thing is a mailing list. You need a mailing list. I would start from day one, and every single day I'd be adding at least one person to that mailing list, if not a dozen, if not a couple dozen, but every day I'd add to the mailing list. Any sophisticated marketer is going to have a mailing list, and they have it for a reason, because marketing using email works. The other thing you're going to want to do, and I think is very, very important, is you're going to want to network as much as you can. Most of us will say, hey, I don't have the time to network. I'm really busy. I'm building this business. I'm trying to build an empire. I have no time to network. But you know what? No, you do have time, because if you want customers and you want to get people to know you and you want to build some social proof, if you want people to believe in you, you've got to network, you've got to get out there. So please don't say, hey, I don't have time to network. Use the social media platforms as well. You can use Facebook, you can use Twitter, you can use YouTube. There's so many platforms out there. People use Instagram. I know a lot of people, especially if they're selling like clothing or they're selling products that need an illustration or need a picture, or that's what they use as Instagram. But use a social media platform and don't try to use them all. That's a tip I just actually learned recently. I was sitting there with my business and sitting there and using as many social media platforms as I could, because I thought that was the way to go. But I learned something, and after 30 years of being in business and after all the experience I have, I learned something, which is only use a minimum amount of platforms. Use one or two, maybe three at the most, but use platforms that reach your market. That is so important. But here's the last tip. Here's another tip that I want to give you. Do what your competitors are doing. Do what people are doing who sell your product or sell your type of service. Do what they're doing. Copy them, emulate them. Especially if they've been around for a while. And if you see that they've grown and they're growing, do what they're doing. That is the easiest way to market your business. It's the easiest way to do your research, because they've done it. They've made the mistakes. They've had the successes. Do what your competitors are doing and you can't go wrong. Okay, now here's another step that you should take when you're starting a small business. And this step is this: become an expert in your field. And I don't care what field you're in, it doesn't matter to me, but whatever field that you are in, become an expert. And please don't tell me that, there's so many people doing exactly the same thing that I'm doing, there's nothing I can do. But let me give you a great example of what I mean. And I'm going to give you the simplest example that I can think of right now as I'm sitting here in the studio. Say you're a carpenter and you want to build cabinets for people, you want to help them and just create beautiful cabinets. It doesn't hurt to become the expert in cabinet building. Yes, you can do what a dozen or 100 or 10,000 other carpenters or cabinet makers are doing. Yeah, you can build cabinets, but why not let people know what you're doing? Why not let people know how you do it? You can do this so easily, whether you create a YouTube video, you put pictures on Instagram, you paint yourself as the expert who really knows all the details about building a cabinet. You know, when I started my chain of business-to-business publications, my very first publication, which was my model for the entire chain that grew, and I was very, very pleased with what we were able to do. What we did is we filled the pages of our magazine with stories about business people who were doing amazing things. We filled our pages with stories with information that people could use, that small business owners could use in their daily business. In essence, we became the expert in the small business area. We became the expert at providing information to small business owners, and we were rewarded by our customers being the advertisers. The advertisers knew that we were the experts, that we provided information, that we had the audience, and they flocked to us. They gave us tens of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars in advertising. They didn't give it to us. We earned it because we were the experts. So I'm suggesting to you that whatever you do, let people know that you're the expert. You can write articles. You can write a book if you're so inclined. You can give speeches. You can do YouTube videos. Become the expert in your field, and people will flock to you because they want to deal with the best. If I'm spending my money, if you are spending your money, you want to deal with the best. You want to deal with people who know what they're talking about. Become the expert, but become the expert and let people know that you are the expert. That is one of the most important steps that you can take as starting a business when you're over 50. And if you're over 50 years old, you've got a lot of experience. You've got years, you've got decades of experience. Let people know what you've done. Let people know what you're doing. That's how you can become successful. I'm going to give you the final step to starting a business when you're over 50. And to be sure, there are a lot of other steps you should take. But these are the 5 main steps that every single person who is starting a business should take. And this step to me is, and I said some of the other ones were important, and certainly they're all important. But this one is something that I do every single day, and it's I monitor my growth. And any and every single entrepreneur that I've spoken to over the course of years, over the course of decades, has monitored their growth. They look at their numbers, and they look at their numbers every single day. Don't fool yourself. Don't think that, hey, my numbers, I don't need to look at my numbers. They're not that important. I can go a day, I can go a week, I can go even a month without looking at my numbers. No, look at your numbers every day. You want to look at 3 things, though, when you're looking at your numbers. Number 1, obviously, you want to look at your sales. You want to look at your sales numbers. Are my sales increasing? Are they flatlining? Are they stagnant? Are they going up? Even if it's a slow growth, but are they going up? Are your sales moving in the direction that you need them to move? Because if they are, then you know you're offering a good product. If your sales zoom up, if your sales increase tenfold, and every month they're increasing and increasing, and you know that you're on the right track. It's obvious because you're going to have that energy, the drive, because you're going to see that your product is being well received. So yes, monitor your numbers, monitor your sales numbers every day, multiple times a day. Also, number 2, monitor your profit. Look at your income statement at the end of the month. Look at your income statement. Look at the numbers. You've got your revenue minus your expenses equals your net income. Now, there's an important factor that I want to point out here. And I remember Jeff Bezos with Amazon. He wasn't making money. His net income for years, net income was negative. But his sales were up. He was making money in individual products. His sales were constantly climbing. But what he got, and this is the 3rd thing that I want you to look at, what he got was customers, steady addition of customers. If you don't have an increase in your customer base every single week, every single month, every year, then you don't have a business. You have a hobby. You've got to have sales. You've got to have net income, but you've got to have customers. You know, I worked with a company recently, and great product, brilliant people behind the product. They loved and believed in what they were doing. They lived and breathed it, as a matter of fact. But you know what? Their numbers were stagnant. And at some times, their numbers were declining. But they had this great product, but they had a product that nobody wanted. Maybe they wanted it, but they weren't willing to pay for it. So to me, that's not a product. It's not a business, it's more of a hobby. No, you've got to monitor your growth. You've got to make sure that your numbers, and again, you've got to make sure your numbers are positive. You've got to make sure your numbers are growing. There's nothing that is more deflating. There's nothing that'll make you more depressed than looking at your business and seeing that nobody wants your product. If that happens, you need to close the door. That's just my recommendation. You have to decide that on your own, but that's what I would do. So the 5 steps to starting a business, I've just covered those. I covered those fairly succinctly, and I know that. I didn't go into a whole lot of detail. I'm going to put my email address or way to contact me in the description below this video. So if you do have more questions, I'd be happy to answer specific questions that you have. But I do want to remind you too, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and do so. If you like what we're saying, if you like what we're doing, if you like me sharing my experiences and my expertise and telling you about some of the people that I've met who've done amazing things, if you like that, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. And also, before I forget, hit that little bell, because if you hit that little bell, you're going to get our latest videos, and they will be delivered to your inbox every single week. I publish videos every week. And my goal here is to help you as an entrepreneur, as a person who is dreaming of starting a business. I want to help you to get your business started. And if you are in business, I want to help you to grow your business. And you can do that by watching our videos every single week. So again, my name is Lou Reyes, and I am with Over 50 TV. And I look forward to meeting you and talking to you again soon. Have a great day, everybody. Yeah.